this week's Fireside Chat with Jesse. I am joined today by Dan Levin, president of Liventus. Thanks for joining me, Dan.
Thanks for having me.
Nah, it's great to have you on here. I want to say it's probably going to be, when this airs, like 12 months to the date. So we'll just have
12
to
months
see.
to the day?
Yeah.
Since I was on last.
Since we had you on here last year.
I thought you were trying to say you're not going to air it for a year from now. I was going to say, well.
Then we're really going to have some interesting forecasts on this.
It's going to be a little outdated then. So we did this a year ago. That's cool.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary.
We'll just have to see if this one gets more views than last year. So I guess.
You want to do a bet? Should we do like a live bet here? What are the odds? Figure out the odds, and then.
Or we could ask AI to come up with a creative bet for us, because I think that's what we're going to talk a lot about today.
We can try to do that. It's probably will be better than we will at figuring that one out.
Probably be a little bit more professional than what my simpleton mind would come up with. But anyhow. But Dan, for those individuals who haven't met you yet, do you mind just kind of doing a quick intro to yourself and Liventus?
Sure. My name is Dan Levin, and I co-founded Liventus 21 years ago. I think it was 2002. So whatever that math is, depending on when this airs. Born out of ECS Financial, which is an accounting firm and that specializes in the equipment finance industry. I have a partner, his name is Sam Levin, and he also owns Beacon Funding, which is obviously in equipment finance. So Liventus, since the early days, we started in equipment finance, and the primary goal was to really automate those other companies and implement efficiencies through technology 21 plus years ago, when that was just, I mean, if people can picture 21 years ago, I mean, we're talking, old school tube monitors on the computers, Windows 98, having servers were not really a thing. And application development wasn't really an understood term, even at that point. People weren't developing their own applications. They were barely creating their own websites. So, but we came out of the gate running, and we were the 19th company or 20th company to implement Microsoft CRM back when it was called Microsoft CRM, and implementing paperless office servers, building out server infrastructures, and really automating as much as we could in building efficiencies. And just being very entrepreneurial. Our environment in general is very entrepreneurial, but I myself am as well. And actually in college, I had some clients, and that's my first thing that I did out of college. So out of college, I brought a couple of clients with me, and we were doing work for them. We were doing work for ECS and Beacon, and it just kind of grew, and we picked up a lot of clients along the way. Really started to build a specialty in equipment finance and fintech in general, doing automation and application development and implementing technology really to improve businesses. And so, fast forward 21 years later, and here we are. We have an office in India. We have, we have over 100 employees, a lot of engineers, a lot of very talented people in a number of different industries. We do a lot of heavy work in fintech, which requires, a lot of compliance, security, compliance work and effort, and understanding of a lot of things that come along with fintech in general and equipment finance. So it's been a crazy run when I think about it, and I could probably go on forever. But I'd say for those listening, there's three main buckets we do business in. The first one would be integrations and implementations. The second one would be really ground up development, your individual IP, you dream it, we build it type of thing. And then the third one would be staff augmentation, which is obviously a lot more popular with our overseas office.
Speaking of staff augmentation, based on the economic environment that we're in, right? I mean, I think we've been heading towards a recession or coming out of one. Who knows? I don't even know anymore. But recently, some of the banks are pulling back, getting out of certain channels. Um, are you finding more of a need for, fractional or staff augmented resources?
Yeah, I think the need has always been actually fairly consistent. The market conditions certainly mess with people's budgets a lot, and when that happens, they're not able to set aside the necessary funds for full-time employees on their end, but there is enough for that frac staff aug overseas, which essentially they're getting a full-time employee in a way, and and it's a lot less expensive, and they're able to plug them in and get the same output that they would otherwise with a onshore full-time resource. So that's popular when the economy is good, but it definitely is more popular when the economy is not doing as well and budgets are being toyed with. So I'd say that the need has definitely grown over time as both which is really a byproduct of not only the economy, but the popularization of remote work and the ability to make these frac people, what's the word I'm looking for, productive. And then COVID multiplied that effect. So it is very popular. I don't think it's just the economy that's making it popular.
Sure. No, that makes sense. I know some of the projects that we've worked on together, all of a sudden it's like, oh, nope, you can't hire that person, can't hire this person, but this work still has to be done.
Right.
We need bodies.
And that's what it is, right? I mean, it's more affordable bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of smart people out there.
Well, and then going to the automation and integration side, and specifically in equipment finance. I know Liventus has multiple different verticals that you guys are in, but from a technology perspective and some of these integration automations, when it comes to equipment finance, are you still kind of back with those old tube computers when you walk in and see some of these the technology that we have here?
Sure, some of them, there's definitely room for improvement, efficiencies, and automation in every industry, and that includes equipment finance and leasing.
I just know some of the verticals you're in. It's like, oh yeah, that's cutting edge. That's cutting edge. Like, what are you doing over here? Oh, we need the e-sign. Seriously? Come on. Come
on. Everyone adapts at their own appetite. And sometimes when, and growth, sometimes it's what comes first, the chicken or the egg. Do you have to grow first to then do it? Or is implementing technology the catalyst that's going to make you grow? Right. And sometimes people have a hard time balancing and figuring out which one should come first.
No, absolutely. And then some of the other project-based stuff that you mentioned, like more like helping people with implementations, doesn't matter if it's LOS, CRM, how are you finding kind of the appetite for that, Dan?
Usually that's where a lot of the work starts, right? They've got different systems that need to talk to each other, and implementers. So we're not going to come in and just implement a Salesforce, right, or a Dynamics instance, but it's going to be more of an integration, because a lot of the time implementers for any software are going to fall short, and people want to take the software that they're paying a lot of money for and integrate it with other systems. They want to expand on it. They might want a mobile app on top of it. They might want added workflows. They might want to chop up the data that's in it and build certain reporting and automations around that. So a lot of the times these systems that people are buying for out of the box, if you will, as a term, whether or not they fall short or the implementation falls short, or leaves a lot more to be desired after they've implemented it, is what we see a lot of the time. So going in and extending those systems to complete automations and add workflows, and that's where a lot of the strong automations and efficiencies come in. And just implementing those out of the box softwares sometimes are just half the battle.
Sure, and that resonates with me. I mean, sold software for 10 years, and it was it's kind of the 80-20 rule, right? There's no silver bullet. Nothing is going to do 100% unless you really have deep pockets and can have a 5-year install. So it's like, how do you potentially, that other 20% that the system can't do, or you just don't have resources to do, how do you partner with someone like Liventus to be able to accomplish the majority of that to make the customer happy?
Yeah, I mean, how do you do it? You just call us. I mean, but you know, any software that you buy off the shelf, these are universal. They're meant to work for many different companies. And the idea, as an entrepreneur and business owner myself, the idea that I should change the way I do business to fit into a model of what a software developer thought about is kind of crazy, right? You want to, a lot of that software will be helpful and should be helpful, but it doesn't mean you should just change the way you do business, and then, which can certainly hamper your ability to further grow and, you know, and utilize your differentiation as a company. So that's, again, why you want to take these, and that's your 80-20 that you're talking about. You want to take these systems and keep thinking about how you can make your business better. Don't wait for the software necessarily 5 years down the road to try to make your business better, but you know, have certain expectations of that software, and when it doesn't hit, extend it, you know, make it better. Don't reinvent the wheel. I would never tell anyone to do that, but
Sure.
Extend it and keep going with it. And you know, don't let that be a limiting factor to your growth as a business and as an operation, as efficient, as a way to build efficiencies and automation. And yeah, so that's a lot of the stuff that we do. That's just one of the buckets.
Perfect. Those are all great points. And, you know, you sit there and talk about even the lease accounting platforms in this space. Some of them do lease accounting just a little bit different, or some of them recognize it's a contract. No, it's a customer number. Even something small like that can throw off like a conversion, like data. So it's just little nuances.
Yeah, agreed.
So I want to get into a next topic of conversation that I want to say you probably even spoke about it at a conference last year. Was AI, magical AI.
Did I speak about that?
Maybe it was a year before. I don't know.
Wow. I was way ahead of my time if that's the case. I feel bad for people that listen.
So from an AI perspective, Dan, kind of like, what are your thoughts on, you know, artificial intelligence to now, and then kind of where are we going from here? I mean, is the Terminator scenario on deck?
You know,
and we don't need to go down that far of a rabbit hole, but still.
I think that there's, you know, there's definitely reasons to be worried, and there's reasons not to worry, right? Artificial intelligence, first of all, if you think of, there's a lot of different kinds of artificial intelligence. We've been surrounded by artificial intelligence for a while, right? Think of think of an e-commerce and advertising and the upsell that e-commerce sites automatically do for you, right? Think of all the
banners,
right.
pop-ups.
How do they know I'm interested in that?
What was that, pop-ups like back in the AOL days? Like pop-ups, like pop-up.
Right. Yeah. or Google Maps is an artificial, intelligence tool that we've been using for a while. There's, Google Voice, or when, Alexa, don't say it too loud because it's gonna answer back. At my TV in my other room, I can talk into the remote control, and it can understand what I'm trying to ask for and turn on the movie that I'm trying to ask for. Social media platforms and TikTok and Instagram, these are showing you what it's interpreting you want to see. Spam filters, interpreting emails and figuring out whether or not they're spam. So this intelligence, not to what we've seen lately, but artificial intelligence has been out there, and for the most part, it's really worked in our favor, to our benefit. And that's, I suppose, subjective point, depending on if you're a consumer on the e-commerce side or not. But for the most part, AI can be a good thing, and it can lead to economic growth, and it certainly leads to efficiencies, greater efficiencies. We'll get to maybe what, the open AI and the chat GPT in a second, but solving complex problems, consuming just vast amounts of data and helping solve those, we're limited to what we can consume. Like our brains, if I pick up a book, it's going to take me a while to read it, right? I can't talk to my kids while I'm doing that, and I can't work, and I can only do a couple things at once. I'm very talented in that regard. I can do 2 or 3 things maybe at once, but AI can do a lot of things at once, and it can consume a vast amount of data, and it can solve a lot of problems. And so that's why there's reasons to be excited. There's reasons to be excited in the health industry, right? I mean, there's reasons to be excited in education and in business, in a lot of different ways. And then sure, there's reasons to worry, because it certainly will be a disruptor in the job market. It will certainly, the AI that we're starting to play with, right, or have been now for a year, OpenAI, ChatGPT, this works a little differently than the examples I gave earlier. So the examples I gave earlier were more targeted tasks, like Google Maps is really interpreting one type of data, and it's programmed to figure out routes. It's not programmed to be very interactive, right? Versus the AI that we see today with ChatGPT, that thrives on interactiveness, right? It's kind of this back and forth, and the ChatGPT can understand all types of data. Whereas if you talk about the remote control on my TV, that's just really looking at, when I talk into it and say, show me the Terminator, it knows to just pull up Arnold Schwarzenegger's movie. Right? I can't ask it what's 2 + 2. It's only really, it's got a main focus. Google Maps has a main focus. All the AI that we're used to, the e-commerce, the targeting, the social media, all that kind of has one primary focus. ChatGPT has learned about all of our content that's made public, and also a lot of content that's not made public. And it's able to be intelligent on that and act back and forth. So I bring that up because there is a bias component to be worried about with artificial intelligence. There's privacy issues. The way people are interacting with it, you tell your friends in the schoolyard a story, and you say, hey, keep this between us. Well, guess what? You can tell that to ChatGPT. It doesn't mean it's going to. People were always freaking out when the Alexa devices and the Google devices came out and said that they're always listening. My phone's always listening to me. Yeah.
I got home, every time I get home from a trip, like Brooke unplugs everything.
Hey, she's smart, paranoid, but smart.
Like, come on.
To me, I mean, there's definitely for me personally, it's like, you know what, if Bezos wants to listen to my family banter, so be it, right? But you definitely want to, there's definitely something to be careful from a business standpoint. You want to be careful, right? You
Sure.
don't want, you have to protect you have to protect your business, and you have to protect your family, obviously. But the privacy concerns, on a personal nature, to me, and this is just my own, it's just the way I operate. I don't, spy whatever you want about me. I don't care, right? Leave the business alone. So the privacy issues really come with
Sure.
with the business side of things.
Sure.
And the security, though, is both, right? I mean, you have personal security, personal identity. AI is going to be used and is already being used for bad. You can create any powerful technology, it's going to be used for good, but it's also going to be used for bad. And so the security risks around AI and the deep fakes and the cyber attack automation, that's certainly something to be worried about. So the Terminator, where the machines are killing us, because I forget the exact plot line, but the machines are killing us maybe to protect us or something, or protect themselves. I don't know what it is, but
we're doing this for your own good.
Yeah,
for your own good.
There's probably, let's replay this video 5 years from now to see, to see what that's going to be like. But there's definitely reasons to be concerned with the kind of artificial intelligence we're seeing, but there's reasons to be excited, and there's reasons not to worry, and there's reasons to worry. So, I did a podcast on Leventus the other day about some of this, and I think there is cause to slow down a little bit with it and just try to be more careful, try to put some governance in place for it, make sure that AI is used in ethical ways, and
Sure.
that we're able to kind of control it a little bit, because it is, for the first time ever in the history of humanity, we are probably interfacing with a being that is more intelligent than us. We've never really hit that point ever, right? We've searched for alien life, and we've always, been, there's conspiracy theorists out there that think it's here, but we've never had an animal on Earth that's smarter than humans. At least we think. That's not me being pompous.
And now you're just opening up a can of worms.
So, and the guy, the Godfather, I always forget his name, Jeffrey something, the Godfather of AI, or considered one of the Godfathers of AI. His point is, as humans, we learn from failure, right? It's like, that stove looks really hot, I'm going to touch it. I touched it. That really hurt. I burned myself. I'm not going to do that again. Right?
Sure.
We learn from failure. So this is the first time we're dealing with intelligence that's going to be greater than our own. We're going to fail, which is kind of a scary thought. And we have to be able to recover from that and learn from it. And the jury's out on whether or not we can do that. So there is this careful path that we want to make sure that we're taking when it comes to AI. And there was a big shakeup a couple of weeks ago at OpenAI. I don't know if you saw that, where Sam Altman was fired. And I obviously don't have any more information than anyone else, but some of the rumors flown out there are, hey, they fired him because of something that the board, who I guess there's a couple, I don't know who the board is made up of, but anyway, the board fired him because one theory is they saw something that they really scared the hell out of them, right? And the theory is that what scared the hell out of them was some sort of crazy advancement where the AI now is measurably more intelligent than humans. Right. The AI that beat us at chess a couple of years ago, again, that goes into that other type of AI I was talking about. That thing was programmed to play chess.
Sure.
the AI that we're seeing now is universally more intelligent than humans, which, again, I won't repeat myself, but that's reason to slow down a little bit.
No, that makes sense. I mean, I think of you know, my first year of doing this consulting and the man hours that AI saved me, as opposed to having to recreate certain things over and over again. I mean, the challenge I do have with it, it's like, is there going to be any original thought anymore?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something we just have to adapt to, right? I think there can be. We have to change the way we teach, right? You can't have term papers be the source of truth of whether or not you pass the test, right? You have to
But you remember in college where it's like, this has to be 1,200 words, like so many pages, and we double space Courier New
yeah.
to try to get it going there.
That was when we were advanced and we're like, I'm going to figure out a way to beat the system. I'm going to change my spacing and I'm going to change my font size. You'll never notice my 12-point font was moved to 13 and my 1.5 spacing was changed to 1.75. I beat the system.
Got it.
Yeah, there's just, teaching will have to be different, but there's ways to use AI. I'm not an AI doomsdayer. I think that, again, AI can be used in so many ways for good and in business and be able to improve efficiencies. My whole professional life has been around building software and building automation. And a lot of that is just artificial intelligence. It's not the artificial intelligence we see today with OpenAI necessarily, but it's a form of artificial intelligence. So I'm a big proponent of it, and it's going to help make us more efficient. And you just said the past year you've been using it, it's been making you more efficient. That's great, right? I mean, let it make you more efficient as a person, as a company, and then we can move to the next level of things that we can take on and do. So definitely use it to your advantage. And it's here. It's not going anywhere. We're not going to unplug it. It's you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. I think that's a phrase, right? So figure out how to use it to your advantage and yeah.
I kind of like this scenario where, like you're mentioning, Google Maps just does that. It's not really that open. It just does directions. But if there's a constant lunch place you go by all the time, and you stop in there more, because when you get in your car, well, you're an Android, so I can't really speak on that.
My friends call me Dandroid.
when I get in the car, it knows based on what time of day if I'm going to Rory's school or if I'm going to Jeremy's school. So it like says, oh, it's going to take this many minutes, and you're just like, okay, stop it. I mean, it's kind of convenient, but it's also like, would you like to stop and get this sandwich?
Right. So there's an underlying AI component there.
Yeah.
I mean, the smart devices in our homes, forget about Alexa for a second, but the light switches that are motion activated or programmed to go on and figure out certain things. These are smart devices. Hell, we call them smart devices, smart home devices, right? We're just not calling them intelligent devices, but they're smart. So it's been around us for a long while. It's just this is just the next level that we're seeing, right? And the neural network that is, the scariest thing about AI, I'd say, is they've created this neural network that's meant to perform and act like a human brain. Admittedly, they don't know exactly how or why it works the way it works. So I guess that's the scary piece, right? The machine learning component is there, but they're not able to really fully understand how they got to where they are. So, that's maybe maybe that's the Terminator scenario. But Yeah. Anyway,
All
there's
right,
don't worry, don't lose sleep over it for
it's
now.
fine. The Android will save you. So just
We'll
remember
see
that.
how this podcast ages. 5 years from now, the machines are killing us out of the sky. Dan said 5 years ago not to worry.
Hey, if this goes to like 1 million views overnight, we're in trouble. Okay, let's just throw that out there.
Yes, yeah, that's probably true.
All right, we'll switch gears a little bit and focus more on the charitable giving of like Leventus and the work that you've done yourself, Dan. First off, thank you for your support of Equipment Finance Cares. You and Sam have been instrumental to our growth in 2023. So appreciate your partnership there. And then I know we've done a Foundation Friday on the EB research, but you mind just kind of talking about the impact that you're making with EB research and potentially other charities there?
Yeah, so it's a number of years ago, I heard about epidermolysis bullosa at a Pearl Jam concert. I'd say 10 years ago. It was actually, I remember it was in Cincinnati, so I think that was 2014. So yeah, like 10 years ago. And it's really just when I heard about it, it was just the most diabolical disease I've ever heard of and could ever imagine. And knowing that it impacts children, knowing that it's a genetic disease, knowing that it is just an incredibly horrible disease, not only to live with, but on the families that have to deal with it. I wanted to get involved and in any way that I could. So fast forward a little bit, I wanted to put on an event with a friend of mine and support the charity. The charity I knew was not that well known, still isn't, but the disease was not well known, and it needed a voice, and it needed help, and so that was what I chose to put some effort into, and we ended up meeting who I'd consider one of our best friends today. After I reached out to the charity, met this family who lives 5 minutes from me, and their kid has epidermolysis bullosa, and she's just an adorable, I think she's 11 now. She's just an adorable kid, and we started this event called Change for Charlie, which is affiliated with the bigger EBRP organization, in the sense that all the money we raise at Change for Charlie just goes right into that EBRP charity. And that EBRP charity is a venture philanthropy charity, which essentially means when they give money to science research and or any kind of initiative that they're giving to, they're essentially getting kind of like equity in that. So if they give money to a drug that ends up being a success and makes a lot of money, they're going to get dividends from that. And those dividends, obviously it's a not-for-profit, those dividends go right back into the charity, and it kind of a snowball effect.
Okay.
And one of the things that this charity also hits for me is just its genetic research component. EB being a genetic disease, all this effort and money and charity effort is going into finding a cure for this particular charity, right?
Right.
And if you can cure a genetic disease, which they're close, I mean, they have a goal of by 2030. But and you talk about artificial intelligence and the way that technology plays a role, that's going to play a big component in our paths to curing genetic diseases or things like COVID or just health advances in general. But you cure one genetic disease, that kind of opens the floodgates to curing a lot of other genetic disorders, which, I'm very passionate about. And I think it's incredible science. I think the charity is run very well. You see a lot of charities that too much money goes to administration, or it's just not, maybe it's not run the way you want it to be run, or they're not putting money in places that you want them to put the money.
Sure.
EBRP is really, it's a very lean operation. It does not a lot goes to the administration of it. In fact, I think all administration costs are covered by one particular family's donation, and all of the money is really going to help find a cure, which is really exciting. And I've met several people with the disease, and they're just incredible people, children, adults, that you meet these people and you want to change what you're doing and fight for them. So that's been my involvement. We've thrown a couple of Change for Charlie's. We're going to throw another one hopefully this upcoming year in 2024. Okay. And you can go to, that's Charlie, Ley, not LIE. So it's changeforcharlie.com or .org. One of the two, it'll get you there. And then you can read about it. You can read about EB, ebresearch.org is the primary charity. So I encourage people to brush up on this and donate to it, because it's not only, EBRP's goal is not to stop at finding a cure for EB. We're going to keep going and take on other genetic issues. So.
Perfect. Well, thank you for that, Dan.
Thanks for giving me a voice.
You have to let me know when that date for 2024 is. Maybe EF Cares can figure out something to bring our equipment finance community together to help support that.
For sure. Thank you.
Yeah. So, I guess kind of in closing today, the ELFA has the financial statement. I don't know if you've heard of them.
I've heard of what a financial statement is. Could you explain what is it?
You don't want me to explain it, but basically it's their band. It's the ELFA band.
Oh, their ELFA band is called Financial Statement.
The financial statements, yeah.
That's awesome. I did not know that. That's
so
funny.
while they are looking for, with Ralph retiring, they're looking for someone who can play the keyboard.
Perfect. My son, my 10-year-old boy, I had to think for a second how old he was. Great piano player, fabulous piano player.
I don't want to.
Is this a paying gig? Do they pay?
No, but not that. I don't know if necessarily you want a 10-year-old in a room full of equipment finance professionals.
You've seen worse.
But we got those guitars behind you.
Yeah.
Would you like to?
You want me to embarrass myself? Is what you're asking for?
Yeah, that's the joys of editing. It's fine.
You can overlay. You can overlay.
I can't. That's asking way too much of me, who just copies and pastes.
This is, what I got. This is tuned differently.
Okay.
There's only a couple songs I can play on that thing with its tuning.
We gotta make sure you turn the audio to accept background noise.
Well, what do you want to hear, Jesse? Pick a song. I gotta. Will you sing?
No.
See, I'm messing it up already. recognize that one? I mean, I don't know.
Do 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 do.
Dude, I mean, it was Beatles. I figured, yeah. So that was kind of pathetic. I told you earlier, it takes me a little while to warm up. I got to warm up the fingers. So
No, it's early.
it is.
We should have done this in the afternoon.
If you can overlay George Harrison's version on the, that would actually be quite helpful. Less embarrassing. I'm a campfire guitarist. You don't even sing along.
I'm not embarrassing myself.
Why?
Come on, I got a voice for TV, not radio, or maybe not even a podcast. No, but in hindsight, I should have done this in the afternoon because then juices are flowing.
Yeah,
But I thought it was well. I knew the song you were playing.
it takes me. I try to play almost every day for 30 minutes, but I mean that's pathetic. If other people play guitar and they heard that, they're like, "This guy plays every day for 30 minutes." It's horrible. So I'm a campfire guitarist.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But I love it. It's a great hobby. I highly encourage anyone to take it up. If I can do it, you can do it.
Awesome. Well, Dan, I greatly appreciate your time today, sir.
Thanks for
2020, 2023 was fun. Can't wait for 2024. I guess buckle up.
Buckle up.
All right, sir. Well, happy holidays to you and your family. And
Thank you. You too.
We'll be talking soon. Appreciate your time.
You got it. Take care.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.